issue for the day, let me just make some announcement. Like I told you previously, the Global Entrepreneurship Week celebration starts on Thursday, next Thursday, 25th of this month, and ends on Saturday, 27th. You are all expected to fully participate in the event. During the opening ceremony on Thursday, your Entrepreneurship League competition, whereby you are made to submit business plan, the result of the exercise will be announced. The result of the competition will be announced. So it is important you are around. That is just one of the many activities that will come. There will also be talk of business startup and models and some other things. Differences will be here. So I will appeal to you to be here early enough and conduct yourself properly, like good students of U of A. We have invited a lot of people from outside the community, and they are big people in the industry. So please come and do the right thing, behave yourself very well, so that you have a good impression when they leave the university. That's University of Abuja students are very responsible students. The second day, there will also be main talks, especially on the major components of this GST 302, which is business registration. We have invited the CAC officials to be present so that they can come and talk to you on how to go about the business registration. Not just that, on the importance and they will also answer your questions on things that you need to clarify. You know the GST, you know the business registration is supposed to be part of this GST 302. But because of the shortness of time, we are going to defer the registration to first semester of next year, right? But all the preparative work will be done right now. So that day on Friday, we'll be here so that you can interact with officials of the agency. That will be one of the activities that will take place during the day. We are also inviting established entrepreneurs, people who have graduated from the university and they are now successful startup owners everywhere in India. They will come and interact with you so that you can learn one or two things about how they went about doing their business and how they started and what they are doing now. So that's also very important for you to be here on that day. Then the final day is on Saturday. I don't know how many of you have applied for this global racing competition. How many of you? You are aware anyway. Yeah, there will be pitch exercises that day, where those who enroll for the competition, right, will come together and sell their idea on the basis of the quality of their presentation. Decisions will be taken, winners will be announced, awards will be given. So it's important for you to be there as well. So having said that, I will now go back to the main theme for the day, which is a GST lecture for digital, what's the name of the topic again? Can anybody remind me? That's a business opportunity. Sorry? Oh, okay, sorry, just about, yeah. It's all about digital entrepreneurship, right? The objective of the course is to expose you to some of the opportunities that are available neo-digital economy. I think it's very important for you to know that two key things define our current economy: digitization as well as agriculture. You started with agriculture. Now, this is digital economy. We have invited one of the best minds in the industry to come and talk to you on this. Before I invite him to the stage, let me just give you a brief rundown of who the expert is. We have in our midst as facilitator for this session, Dr. Ibrahim Ayuba. He's a finance for development specialist with a doctorate degree from University of Malaysia. He also had several other qualifications from Ahmadu Bello University Zaria. And he recently bagged the Tekedia Institute Mini MBA with industry experience and exposure, cutting across capital market and pension industry. He has an award of distinction in financing for development, as well as a certificate in risk and opportunity, managing risk for development by the World Bank. Dr. Ayuba is a faculty board member of the Abuja Chamber of Commerce and Industry. In addition, he was part-time lecturer and resource person at Kaduna State University. He was also involved with the Center for the Study of the Economics of Africa, Abuja. He is a researcher, facilitator, teacher, fintech, and digital economy enthusiast with a passion in good governance and transformational leadership. Please join me to welcome Dr. Ibrahim Ayuba to the podium.
Hello. Thank you very much, Prof. You are so generous with your words. For me, I really appreciate that. Funny enough, I've known Prof for a very long time. During his time at Ahmadu Bello University, he was somebody I used to really look up to, and circumstances brought us together. Thank you very much for giving us this platform to speak to this very respected students. I want to tell you that you are one of the most privileged students ever. How I wish we had this opportunity while we were in school. Probably we'll be competing with the likes of Dangote. Since we're still young, very vibrant, we can take risks. And you know, in finance, they say the greater the risk, the greater the reward. So you have so much opportunities that has been placed before you. I was so surprised with the offerings he's telling you. And I want to tell you, I know one or two students, I've read. Opportunities are so overwhelming. Forget about the fact that, okay, things are not the way you expect them to see. It's very difficult. Yes, I'm aware of that. This is one of the most difficult times to be a student. And I want to congratulate you for taking that step and taking this effort to ensure that you go through this path in your life and your career. Later, you will know why it was very important for you. But before I even go to the main lecture for today, I want you to clap for yourself. You've been doing well. It's not easy. I'm very, very impressed when I see you committed, dedicated, and surprisingly, you've been working very hard, very hard. I can say that for a fact. But sometimes, if you look at it very well, we work very hard, but sometimes we work very hard for the wrong purpose or for the wrong reason. It's just about mindset. If you can divert or pivot the purpose for which you are working hard for, it will surprise you the results that will come out. So I think my slide, is it ready? It's not? Okay. Pardon? Okay. Prof? This slide. Sorry. I sent. Okay. All right. So before we Hello? Okay, before the technical people get it ready, I will encourage you to look out for the presentation we had last week, Saturday. Were you able to, did anybody check it out? Did you watch it? Last Saturday? Okay, I will encourage you to try and take a look at it. It's just for about 30 minutes or so. Is that okay? Huh? Please do. There's a reason for that. Because today's one is going to be a little bit technical, because I have resource materials just to validate what I did during the last lecture. What I did mostly was to freestyle, and then engage them on what the digital economy is all about and the opportunities that are out there for you to take. And let me start by saying, I'm very sure virtually all of you here have a smartphone. Do you have a smartphone? Huh? Okay, good. That means you are familiar with what is happening. Before now, the phone we use were almost analog in nature, isn't it? You could only receive and make calls and then probably send SMS. But today, with your smartphone, you can do a whole lot of things. I'm sure some of you have your bank right there in your phone, isn't it? Right there in your phone, you perform very important transactions. Right there on your phone, using your phone, you've been able to reach out. You've been able to connect with people from all over the world, isn't it? With your smartphone. And right there with your smartphone, probably some of you will say they can't remember the last time they watched something going on the TV, on television, because you do almost everything on your phone. And as I said during the last lecture, according to Nigerian Communication Commission, the number of active phone users in Nigeria are over 160 million. So almost very impressive number, which has informed that you have reach of that huge kind of number. There's power in numbers, isn't it? So imagine over 160 million people having access to a means of communication. That means with your mobile set, you can deliver product or service, and you reach this huge number of people. Imagine in your community, in your homes, in your estate, you can count the number of people, very, few numbers. You can count them. You even know them offhand, offhead, But imagine where you can access these huge numbers of people. That tells you that you can, as much as possible, access a suite of markets. Meaning that you are not limited to your own confined environment. You have a bigger access to market. And some of you that have access to, social platforms. Of course, you have Facebook, Instagram, and so on and so forth, TikTok. You discover that you have friends on those platforms. And so many people have succeeded in projecting themselves, their products, or their services. Hello? Isn't it? Okay. So I think my slide is up. So look at the business opportunity titled, Business Opportunity of Digital Economy in Emerging Economy. Can we move to the next slide? So what do we mean by digital economy? So many definitions have been put forward. And if you can see on the screen, the digital economy refers to a broad range of economic activities that uses digitized information and knowledge as key factors of production. The internet, cloud computing, big data, fintech, new digital technologies are used to collect, store, and analyze and share information digitally and transform social interaction. And that's what I was trying to say. With digital device like your smartphone, with your internet, you have the ability to reach out. Either you are consuming or you are producing goods or services. Hello, just listening. I think the material will be made available for you. Just try and listen. So because of the power of ICT, internet, that's information communication technology, with your digital device, through internet, you can produce goods and services through this platform without physically, engage in any physical activity that you might think of. So it has become very, very critical in our world today as a result of this emergence of this. And today, you can see, next slide please, people are communicating and people are performing transaction on the internet, either through your phone or through other alternative payment platforms, isn't it? So the digital economy has the potential to radically change social environment and the economic activities of emerging markets, which is already experiencing high growth, rapid innovation, and broad application to other economic sectors. There is no area of our lives today that the digital economy has not touched. And it has continued to transform the way we do things, the way products and services are reaching us, and it has transformed lives in ways that we have never imagined before. For example, socially, implication. You have seen situations whereby people take shots, maybe a shot of or recorded a video of very vulnerable people living in vulnerable or deplorable condition, and they upload it on social media using smart devices, and before you know, all over the world people get to see what is happening, and before you know, people begin to reach out and lend a helping hand, and before you know, such people's life begin to transform because of the deplorable or because of the circumstances they found themselves. So using this kind of platform, it has given them visibility that has transformed their life from what they used to be to what they have become. There are so many evidences. You've been seeing them on social media platforms. That is the power of the digital platforms. Just as I said, globally, there are over 3 billion people that have mobile phone. That means whatever it is that you're doing today or you're engaged in, the mere fact that you have a mobile phone, and due to the digital economy, as a result of this ICT, you have reach. You are not limited. So your opportunities are even beyond the shores of Nigeria, beyond the shores of Africa. That means you have a global reach. 3 billion. So what excuse do you have? If nobody is going to buy your product within your closest vicinity, you have more than enough people that will be looking out for you. And this is what we're talking about. The business opportunity that are waiting for you, either as a business person, or even as a government, or even as an individual. The opportunities are quite huge. And most especially, 2/3 of these subscribers live in developing or emerging economy, and it is fast growing. There's a report that has it that Africa has opportunity of over $300 billion opportunity. So how are you positioning yourself to uptake from this opportunity? That means you don't need to depend on Naira. You know? So if you can position yourself, come up with a product or a service, you can access these over $3 billion market opportunity that is available for you between now and 2025. So what are you doing now that you have this information? Let's continue. With COVID-19, businesses and individuals were caught off by surprise. People were shocked because our movement were basically restricted. Nobody ever envisaged this or that, because it was a pandemic that came about that you have to make a decision between your life and your livelihood. And you know, you have to be alive in order to continue living, isn't it? If you are not alive, will you be able to do anything? So you have to stay alive for you to be able to continue with your economic activity. In order to contain COVID-19 pandemic, government all over the world decided to put up restriction. In fact, there were lockdowns, apart from the restrictions in some places, except for those that were engaged in very, very emergency activities were allowed to have access. And who can remind me of those that were allowed to move around during the COVID-19 period? Can you? Anybody? Yeah? Okay. Can I? Huh? What did he say? Sorry, I can't hear. Doctors? Okay. That means the health sector was up and going because of their nature in order to save life. And what? And again, any other? Huh? Security, yes, to secure people's lives and businesses that have been shut down. But there was something that was very critical. Yes? Apart? Huh? You say what? Online business picked up. And what was the motivation for that? The motivation was that people movement were restricted and food became critical. If there's any lesson that we've learned from COVID-19 was that food is one of the major sustainers of life, if not it. Because people were saying they were getting hungry, and for you to be alive, you have to eat. So those that were involved in the production of food or in the distribution or that value chain, it became a booming industry for them. And those that were able to key into the digital, platforms, using the digital technology, were able to take advantage. Because so many businesses that were not prepared, it was almost as if that was their end. They closed shop. And at the end of the day, we were able to see those businesses that were able to key or that were on this platform, they made significant headway. They brought out new billionaires. Just like that. When people were shouting that their means of livelihood were disrupted, were shut down, those that were on the digital, platform were counting their monies in huge volumes. And schools were locked, either primary, secondary, or even the tertiary institutions. Most of them were shut down, except for those that were able to activate virtual learning. Isn't it? Some of the schools that were able to adopt the digital platforms were able to continue to, to deliver their learning process to their learners. That is to tell you that with COVID-19, the digital space has become the new normal. So if you don't belong to this, or if you don't key into it, automatically you are exiting yourself from these wonderful opportunities that exist. Because that is where virtually everybody has moved into. And for that reason, probably, hello? Just as I said, it has exposed that weaknesses from the traditional way people have been engaging in their businesses or engaging with others. At that time, it was even difficult for you to communicate or even visit home. I remember in some homes, they will put their signposts that no visitors are allowed. During the pandemic, everybody was trying to stay alive. At that time, people now moved to the digital space. It's either you're using your WhatsApp to communicate, or you're using Messenger or other, digital platforms to communicate and to even hold conferences. In the universities, lecturers were using virtual platforms to present their conference papers. Conferences were going on, meetings, companies still have to move virtually in order to continue with their meetups and so on and so forth. That is to say, It afforded businesses the opportunity to transition themselves into that platform. So if you look at it, no individual was left, even businesses and even governments. And today, if you can remember very well, we even have, as a government, we have a Minister of Communication and Digital Economy, just to emphasize how critical the digital economy has become. So if you look at, according to Liu Zinim, the UN Under Secretary General and head of UDESA, these platforms were very visible, or they formed the major component of the digital economy. Digital finance, you don't need to be there physically in order to perform transaction. Digital finance became one very huge place of opportunity. Then we have the digital government, just as we have the digital Minister of Communication and Digital Economy. We have digital health. We have digital education. So everything is moving or has become digital. And nothing stops you from becoming digital, even as an individual. Otherwise, you will miss out of this opportunity. Next slide, sir. So these are the building blocks of emerging digital economy. Internet access, transactional access, and entrepreneurship. To connect business, government, and people, that's what internet does. You need connectivity. So data in your phone or in your devices has become very, very critical. It's just like your blood in your body. If you don't have blood in your body, I'm sorry, it's a huge challenge. It's likely you will survive. So today, internet has become the critical agent that connects people, that connect businesses, and connect government, such that you have a streamless access in your transaction that enables you to exchange value in terms of either you are consuming or you are producing. Then we have the entrepreneurship there, or the entrepreneur. Because of this internet access and then the transactional access, you have people, as I said at the beginning of this class, I say in Nigeria we have over 160 million people that have internet, active phone telephones. And then globally, I said, based on this report, that there are over 3 billion people that have access to telephone handsets. Now, what does it tell you? You have a huge opportunity already. There's a huge market. There's a new ordinance. Things have changed. Business have moved from the physical to online. As an entrepreneur, what is there for you? Or what has been there? We've seen a lot of innovation. So many apps, applications have been coming up that people are using, and they are making their money. You access these apps, and people put up their products, and you are consuming. And those people that are producing, they can easily access payments through the exchange that is going on. Now, the question is, where do you belong? Are you among those that spend 6 hours of your 24 hours daily on average, based on study, on your digital platforms? 6 hours, not less than 6 hours daily. People are engaged with their devices, smart devices. 6 hours daily. The question is, what are you doing? 6 hours. People are becoming innovative. Prof talk about agri. A lot of young men have used this innovative means to make available some of the products, from even accessing these products right to your homes. You've been seeing platforms like that where you can access your groceries on platforms across the value chain. You have those that will make it available for you. Almost 24 hours now you can access food online, Jumia Foods, isn't it? Some of you have been able to access them, and you've been able to, got food sent to you right there in your own home or at the office. You have a restaurant, you are waiting for customers because you are very good you have good cooking, or excellent cooking skills. You are a chef, and people always tell you that your food is very tasty, very nice, and then you are sitting down waiting for people to come and visit you at your restaurant. Why not transition? Why not be innovative as a result of the data, that's the internet, and then the payment transaction that is available for you, so that you can expand. You don't even wait for your customers. You go out there and meet them where they are spending 6 hours of their time daily. Because people have moved, people have migrated. Some people are even absent-minded. You are looking at them physically, but emotionally and mentally, they are right there inside their phones. So they only see what is in the phone. So how do you take advantage and be visible so that they can access you? You are doing the mainstream physical, trading, and then you are out there meeting them because they've all moved. So these are innovative way that you can access the market that is available for you. And quite a number of people have been doing that. No matter how small it is that you are producing, you might be making here, plating here, doing your makeups and whatnot. With internet and transaction, process, you'll be able to do that. So these are the thematic guidelines for emerging market digital economy. As we said, data, environment, inclusion, and trust. Within the provision of what digital economy has to offer you, these are subject areas that are very critical. Data. By data, you can create economic development while protecting the rights of people. Because there's this belief, and it's agreed, that the new oil today is no other than data. If you can get data of people, of businesses, or organization, it has become a powerful resource that you can trade. Or it has become so valuable that you can use it for so many things. So data is the new oil. I don't know whether you get me. Let me give you an example. According to Prof, all the 300 level students are offering entrepreneurship at 300 levels. Imagine you can begin to deploy products or services that will bring volume of businesses for you. That is the power of data. Because these people or these students or your colleagues 300 levels, they are not just 300 level students, but they are potential markets that you can convert, that can lead to income or value. And I told you, like the influencers that you follow, people create a platform At the end of the day, they spend like 90 days or how many days before you know they have followers all over. And they begin to help advertise for some businesses, their products. And by so doing, people have visibility, those products become visible to this number of 200,000 or 10,000 followers. And business starts from there. That's why data protection and privacy is of great concern, because your data can be cloned for anything wrong. So it's an area of concern, even as it has its very, very important, is the driving force for the digital economy. But it has its own downside due to its impact to the environment. And globally now, the concern is that the impact, the negative impact of ICT is contributing to the carbon emission. Despite the fact that it has made available opportunities, it has also created problems. We now move. Inclusion. Meaningful connectivity designed for inclusion, community networks, and ensuring that no one is left behind. If you look at the SDGs, the Sustainable Development Goal, the UN declaration that by 2030, nobody should be left behind in terms of the agenda, in terms of the goals that have been signed into by government, sets of government of the United Nations, to eradicate poverty, to eradicate hunger, quality education. There are 17 in numbers. And the whole idea is to see that the world becomes more prosperous in a shared manner. That inclusion is very critical. So who are those underserved or unserved people that you can use in order to ensure that they benefit from this ICT opportunities? Then there's the issue of trust, strategies, and best practices for protecting both systems and user. So these are very critical elements that are subject to ongoing discussion and conversation, because a lot of people don't want to come in because of this issue of trust. How can I trust you with my data? How can I trust you when obviously there are certain, downside to ICT? How can I trust you when, for example, you have people that are underserved, or they are not served completely, and you come to them and you say you want their data when they don't know what you're using the data for or what is going to be used for? So this issue of trust are issues that need to be sorted out. You have a role, the users have a role, everybody, government has a role in all of it. Next slide. So, global nature of data of the internet and transfer of digital information across borders bring a whole lot of discussion around the data, just like what I'm telling you right now. This issue of data has become a very powerful subject of discussion, because it has enabled new social, cultural, and economic opportunities that has ever been previously imagined. You've been hearing about Elon Musk, the richest man in the world. And you can imagine, he's almost as rich as Nigeria. Just one individual. He's as rich is more richer than Finland. Individuals becoming richer than nations because of the presence of data, connectivity, the digital economy. So it has come with challenges as well, because human and this platform, all of a sudden everybody has gotten his or her voice. People are speaking out. You see people on social media screaming, saying all sorts of things. Either it affects them or it affects someone. Now people have that power to express themselves. But then it needs to be weighed, isn't it? Because just because you have that access, that platform to write and to speak, you have to do it responsibly without infringing on the right of the other person, without infringing on their faith, their culture, and other attachment or identity that they hold very dear. So that's how critical it is. Next, so the illustrative policy questions that comes to mind are: what should be the right and responsibilities for individuals in determining the use of their personal data? How to ensure transparency and accountability in gathering and handling of personal data? These are questions that need to be answered. Because by the time you are leaving this place, I'm sure you'll be preparing yourself to key into these platforms. You will have to, by any means, try and see how you can upload people, get them to register or to key into your, or like into your, platform, as the case may be. How are you going to handle this data that these people are going to put for you in a responsible, accountable, and transparent manner? What societal and economic benefits are embedded by the trustworthy use of data to develop data-driven emerging? No, there's no demarcation. You have access across borders. And some of these things are generating serious concern, and it's a global issue. And the question is, how can we facilitate? Because of the opportunities are huge, the fear and the downside are also huge. So there's the need for a common framework that should address some of these fears so that we can get people to get involved. I remember when during the innovation, the advent of cards, ATM cards and the rest, a lot of people said they are not going to be part of it. Why should I be holding a card? They felt, no, it's not possible. I have to enter the banking hall, write my check, or write on the teller and then withdraw my money. I won't ever try that card thing. Supposing it get missing, supposing somebody takes it, supposing, so many fears. But over time, people were able to get used to it because of the convenience and the ease that the cards provides for. That's not to say that there are no issues here and there, but if you can protect yourself to a large extent, the benefits are very obvious, isn't it? Because there are times you go to the bank, the crowd is so prohibitive, so scary. You might be in a place where there might not be physical banks, or it might even be after work, closing hours. So what do? And you must do something. So these are the questions that have been put forward here. So what is the impact of AI and other data-related technologies in the exercise of rights of most vulnerable groups? and how to implement them to further advance their inclusion and avoid further harm. By AI, what is the role? How does it impact? Today, AI has become one of the most amazing digital technologies that people, business, and government are using, because you cannot work 24 hours in your place of work or in your business. Now, artificial intelligence is robots or computer mimicking the way you do things or the way you address issues. There are platforms, for example, the N-Power, this power platform that you use in buying your electricity, maybe during close of work, or you enter an app or a platform, and then you see somebody engaging. How can I help you? That's artificial intelligence. You know, robots communicated to you based on a programmed process to answer to your need. Probably the staffs have gone, they've closed for the day, because you might be in need of a product or a service and you are ready to pay for it. You want to know, you want to find out, but suddenly the place is closed, or from the office closing hours has been, stated. But with artificial intelligence, you can have 24 hours engagement. Even the banks do that. Phone call, they will ask you, you'll be able to get attended to. So it makes you to patronize. It makes you to follow up. So these are some of the impacts that artificial intelligence can do for you. To even tell you the number of people that have visited you. This person that will pass me by will not say a word. So it gives you an insight about the opportunities that, then this person, I can track her or she. I can communicate with these people to tell them, okay, how can I help you? What are you looking for? So you see, the opportunities are massive. The environment, as we talked earlier on, the ICT sector currently performs better than the wider market. Today, even if it is employment, those in ICT seems to be in excess demand. There's excess demand for them. There's shortfall for skills in ICT. So it's because of this huge opportunity. Recently, I had issue with my laptop. I decided to visit one of the it was a cafe and a business, outfit that deals with computers and hardware, software. By the time I visited, I met the guy, very young guy, and we started discussing. I was telling him, this is the problem I'm having with my laptop. And he looked at it, he said, okay, let's look at it. He came up with a cable, come up with another, an external device to troubleshoot the system. Along the line, we got communicating, and I asked him, what did you study? He said, I read sociology in Ahmadu Bello University, Zaria. I said, wow. Then what moved you here? He said, yeah, I learned because I saw opportunities here. So I said, you know what, Oga, I'll be coming to learn. He said, no, Oga, this is too much for you. I said, please stop it. Drop that word. I said, I'm coming. I want to do this thing. So let's talk about the time. Because within that short moment I was with him, I saw the number of people that were coming and how much they were giving him out. If you go to this computer village, look at those guys there. Because we have become consumers of these devices. The moment this device has a fault or is underperforming, we know where to go immediately. It's just like when you are not feeling fine, immediately you begin to look for medical help, isn't it? So now our devices have become something close to that because they become part of us. The mere fact that you read history or English or any other subject doesn't stop you from acquiring that knowledge in ICT. Because evidence has shown that ICT is the most leading sector all over. That's where it is. So at least you should be able to do some basic repairs, basic, problem solving, instead of, that little money that you want to conserve for something else, you won't divert it for fixing your devices. Another policy question is, how can existing emerging technologies contribute to addressing climate change, and how can they foster change in various sectors of the economy, like manufacturing, trade, agri-food, etc.? What initiative exists and what can be done to improve them? These are the opportunities. I think these are the things you should be looking at to see how you can address these big problems. Today, the issue right now at the forefront is what they call ESG. ESG, environmental, I think sustainability and governance, or this environmental, social, and governance issue is the big issue now. For you starting your business, they want to know what is your ESG framework. What are you doing in order to protect the environment? Because there is a serious challenge for environment. The flooding, the seasonal rainfall that is becoming erratic, the global warming, these are realities, and it's as a result of the activity of humans and businesses. So today, for your business to scale, or for you to even get access to financing, your problem that you want to solve, or the product that you want to produce, must have ESG embedded in it. Otherwise, it will be a problem. For example, the developed world are telling us that we should stop fossil consumption. So how do you do? How do you address these things? So anytime you see a problem, it's an opportunity for you. There is money, there is benefit in it. And presently in Lagos, there is a startup. You know what this startup does? They want to solve the problem of this climate emission. They said they want to reduce the number of cars that are plying Lagos. The moment, if you've been to Lagos, the moment you just enter Lagos, you feel like you should start removing your clothes because of the heat and so many other things. You can see the flood. And what they are saying by their startup during their pitch making was that the key problem they have in Lagos is the massive numbers of vehicles that are plying the road. Now we're trying to see how we can reduce that numbers. So many people don't want to drive. It's stress. Driving in Lagos is like you are killing yourself. You see people driving. If you must have a car, you'll be thinking of, depending on the kind of job you do, you'll be thinking of getting a driver so that you can sleep through to office and coming back home. Otherwise, you're in problem. Now, this startup decided to come up with an innovative idea whereby you can have some very efficient vehicles that can take people that are going around the same, location. Very convenient, very top of professionals that are smart, that are friendly, with customer-centric driven. And people are opting, and they are taking the records. And this is what is making this new startup to get funding from outside the country. Right now, they are becoming one of the big business. The fact that Bolt exists, Bolt is solving a different problem than what they are solving. And probably very soon you will begin to see them in Abuja, wherein you don't need to fly or drive your car from office or to market or wherever it is. And you can save yourself the energy and even the fuel and then the lifespan of your car. Inclusion is another, issue that we raise. Inclusion is about ensuring that those with limited or no access to the internet, such as the unserved and underserved community, as well as those which the internet is not accessible due to gender, disability, digital literacy, affordability, or for any other reason, are now included and have equal opportunity to be meaningfully connected to the internet. Also, a key contributor towards a stronger economy and enhanced economic development through shared wealth, shared employment, and equal opportunity for all, and is an enabler towards the fulfillment of the UN's 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development. You agree with me that we have this reality. So many people are either unserved or underserved. Internet is also a challenge, most especially for students and others. There are those that do not have the literacy, the knowledge in regards to the digital space. So how can you contribute your quota? So these are some of the opportunities that people are bringing up and are facilitating, that inclusion. There are some people, they don't have a smartphone, but today, with their normal phone or analog phone, they can still initiate transaction with it. You remember the USSD? You can use USSD to make transaction. And there are companies that have come up using such platform, using the technology. Once you have you have a phone line issued by any of the network, they have your information and they can confirm it so far that number is connected to them. They've used the telecom card. In fact, right now, I think one of the network provider has applied for a license as a fintech or so, as a payment platform. So with your line, you can get disbursed, and you can disburse funds even to your mommy in the village that might not be able to use a smartphone. And with the upcoming in-era. So these are efforts to carry people along. Next slide, please. To ensure that nobody is left behind. Next slide, please. So, I think I've talked about this, how to make sure that we carry everybody along in the internet ecosystem, and how we can manage the social inclusion within within the community affected with technology and ICT to bring the desired change. Next slide. So trust, I think, is one of those you have earlier mentioned. Without trust, we can achieve really just little. To enable trust in the system, everybody has a role to play. And this is where government has insisted on NIM, BVN, and the rest of them, so that you can identify anybody, whoever he is, that is on that digital ecosystem. We can connect him, or we can relate whoever is on that by their identity, either by their BVN or their national identity number, because it gives you guarantee. In some part of the world, before you can get a phone number, you must undergo some kind of auditing, profiling. You must have your international passport. You must disclose certain information that must be key in, so that when I know I'm dealing with you, I know that I'm dealing with a real human, somebody that has an identity. And if that person has an identity, you know that you can locate that person, you can trace that person. So even if I'm offering you a good or a service, I know that at the end of the day, I'll be able to reach out to you. You can't hide away. You can't change your number. Even if you change it, based on that contact number you have used, we know who benefited what from that initiation. Next slide. Okay. So if you look at it, despite these vast opportunities presented by the digital economy that we've been talking, the emerging market has not fully realized the potential of harnessing the digital economy for sustainable development. And when a country begins to see the need that there's benefit in terms of economic development in this digital ecosystem, then we'll begin to see framework, we'll begin to see policies, guidelines that will, carry and strengthen the digital ecosystem. So this is something that you should have at the back of your mind at every opportunity or any fora, to tell or to pass the message across that there are huge opportunities that are inherent in this digital economy. Telephony, broadband. So if you look at it here, in terms of broadband subscription, comparing the rest of the world with Africa, you can see Africa is represented by the orange color. Then we have the Arab states, something like black. Then we have Asia Pacific, red. Then the Americas and Europe. Now look at the telephony subscription broadband. In terms of maybe those that have the internet. If you look at in 2005, if you look at Africa, is lagging behind, even though there's that indication to show that they are making progress in terms of telephony, making calls, those that have access to it. Then by the time you come to broadband, in terms of data, having, access to the connectivity and the rest of them, you see as 2010, only few was for Africa. The Americas, we even did better than the Americas, suddenly. But you can see in 2020, significant effort has been made. There is improvement. You can see the growth taking place, because these are the devices, some of the technologies that support the digital economy, and it's growing, and the world is moving at that pace. Next slide. Distribution of mobile network types, coverage, rural and urban areas by level of development in 2020. So if you look at it, in terms of 2G, 3G, and 4G, look at the colors below. Orange is 2G, and then yellow 3G, and 4 is 2G. So you can see the dispersion between the urban and rural areas, to show you that the rural areas are underserved across, board. However, 4G is gaining, traction, most especially when you look at it at the urban areas. So from here, you can see the developed economics, and then the developing economies from this side, and then the low income developing countries has not really done much. You can see the space, 2G. Most of them are still on 2G, which you can do little or nothing in terms of download and the rest. Next, please. Slide. So all groups of countries by level of development has experienced significant growth. Just like what I said, they are growing. Penetration. So everybody is becoming digitalized. Both in developing and least developing countries. Next slide. But you see, the developed countries have done 4 times more than the kind of growth that we expect from our own side. So smartphone adoption by regions selected, yes. If you look at it, Sub-Saharan Africa is trying, even though not as much as others, as at 2016. In 2019, look at us, we're playing catch up. You know, if you look at from 2016, which is blue color, then the orange color is in 2019, then by 2025, the expectation is that we'll be close to the Middle East and North African countries, Sub-Saharan Africa. So there's smartphone adoption. That's to tell you that the reality is digital economy, the digital ecosystem is for real. You must begin to look for how you can key into it. Whatever it is, how little it is, ensure you link up. Okay, next. So, mobile data plans are essential for making full use of mobile devices. I think I mentioned that earlier. I mentioned how affordable it is. So government can begin to see how they can make it affordable, most especially given the fact that over 65% of our youth today, they constitute the population of our country. And making data to be affordable will go a long way. It won't be a hindrance because we're talking about ensuring we carry people along. Most especially when you look at yourselves compared to your counterparts in other parts of the world. So that's to show you the price of 1.5 gigabytes of mobile broadband and share of GNI. That's gross national income. If you look at how much you are earning and how much you are allocating for your data, it's quite on the high side. So probably the universities might begin to look at ways in which they can make data to be accessible from connecting with the telecom providers. You know, it happens in other countries in order to help them, you know, with their learning experience and other issues. Next page, next slide. To broadband internet connection speed, global and by level of development. Speed is of importance too, because you can imagine the time you spend trying to download a document or trying to upload a video or a document or a product that you have. If the speed is slow, it's going to impact your features. It will even make you very inefficient. So what can be done to improve the speed is of very importance. Next page. So the speed of internet connections is determinant of the capacity to generate and use data traffic. As the technology and the use of the internet has been evolving very rapidly in the last 20 years, the quality of connection matters. And in recent times, there are new efforts to introduce new devices that enhances speed using the current, platform or devices that they have, like the modem. There are those that have the speed that can, more than double, far back and beyond that. And Elon Musk's is on the verge of using satellite communication, deployment, whereby they will make data available for almost everybody. It's on the pipeline, and they are working on it. Is it Sputnik or some Starlink or something like that? That's what they are working on the satellite, to get data at a faster rate. In fact, beyond is at a threat to the telecommunication companies. They might be hands-on at the end of the day, at the rate with the innovations that is coming, it's putting in place. So can we have the next slide? Okay, I think we've talked about this already. Internet use globally. You can see. So preparing for the future. The future is, surprisingly, is now. What are you doing to position yourself? I've met very young students that are already making it very significantly in the digital space. As I said in my lecture last week, you must find a platform that you can use to sell yourself. And to sell yourself, you have to ask yourself deep questions. Who am I? If you can answer that question, I can tell you that you have far better opportunity to take advantage of this digital economy. Because who you are has to do with your taste. It has to do with your ability. It has to do with your values, and so on and so forth. If you can package it and brand yourself, you can deploy anything on that basis that people will find you very attractive and somebody that can impact value. I follow people, I follow mentors on several platforms. Some, their storytelling ability, gifts. What gift do you have? People are waiting to read you. People are waiting out there to follow you based on your posts. Some of these things you are very familiar with. Some of these followers or some of these people that make speech or tell story in the area of expertise, they have so much followers that even the platform gives them money. Some in millions every month, 20 millions. And they're just there. And you'll be thinking, what's these people doing? People put ads because you have sustained a level in which people can't wait to hear your expert opinion. Is it on relationship? Is it based on faith, or is it based on health, lifestyle? So you can put up something and engage. Currently, how many people do you have in some of this platform? There's this popular guy that has become a sensation on LinkedIn. You know LinkedIn? How many of you know LinkedIn? The professional platform. Okay, do you have a page? Oh, great. These are platforms that you can learn from experts. I follow them. I follow businesses to get top of the information or insight about business and so many things. There's this story of, I think, Emmanuel Nduka. Maybe you can check it. He became a sensation on LinkedIn. I think he was just in 300 level. 300 level student, or I think he even started while he was in 200 level. He said, let me go in there, even though he's just a 200 level for the graduate student. And he tried to connect with people that can mentor him based on what his traits, his interests are. He began to follow them, sharing his aspiration, his hope, connecting with them, thanking them, that he can't wait to be like
and so person. And before you know, one day he got noticed by this very influential Nigerian business and professional man. And before you know, he mentees, because almost every year he has people that he mentors. Now look at somebody, an undergraduate, having that opportunity to meet his mentor. So who is your mentor? Who do you want to meet? Do you have a goal? Now, you can imagine the protocol that would have been involved for him to just see maybe his PA. But on that digital platform, he was able to have access to such a very, renowned personality. And that singular act inspired so many undergraduates. They didn't believe that it's going to be possible. In fact, in one of the mentor training, his hotel was paid for. He stayed in a hotel. In his life, he said he has never stayed in a hotel before. It was paid for about 50-something thousand. The first time that he's going to fly in a plane, it was concealed that. I'm not saying you should go to social media and begin to beg. No. There are ways, etiquettes that you must ignore. Some of you have been abusing the social media. And today, in terms of levels, so many graduates that I know, it's very difficult for them to be employed or engaged because of some of the nuisances they've constituted on social media. They are very fast to express annoyance, abuses, you fight, you quarrel, you say all sorts of things. You don't know that you are being watched, and the internet doesn't forget, and it doesn't forgive. The way, the manner you use the internet or the digital platform is very crucial. These are things you need to watch out for. Can we go back to the people before it's okay? So, if you look at this, there is an African digital skill gap. There's a gap. It's very huge. Today, there are skills that if you have, you won't even be engaged here. They'll be looking for you out beyond the shores of this. There are people that are also in Nigeria today, graduates, and even undergraduates, because of the digital skills they have. They're in Nigeria, but they're working for companies outside Nigeria. In some of the top companies of the world, because of this digital skills, the demand for them outstrips the supply. So what are you waiting for? So if you look at it, there are basic skills. It's not everybody that must have all the skills. But look at it. Creating a professional online profile. You should be able to do that. And on LinkedIn, on Quora, where you can be asking questions, or people will be asking you questions, you are answering. And at the end of the day, they will pay you, depending on the level of engagement. The algorithm will recognize you, and you can be making money. There are so many platforms like that. You don't need to look for seed money that you want to start business. No. Word processing, managing privacy settings, to be able to manage your privacy settings, email, using keyboard and touch screen. These are basic skills for the digital economy. Now we go to the intermediate skills. Desktop publishing, digital graphic design, and digital marketing. At this stage, anywhere you know you can go to acquire this skill, from the 6 hours you spend daily using your phone, go and look for it. It will bring you money and value. The advanced skills, that's when you now go to, if you want to extend, then we have artificial intelligence, big data, digital entrepreneur. You want to become a digital entrepreneur? Yes. There are processes and there are places, even on digital platforms, that you can acquire this skill. On YouTube, you can, and people are making on YouTube, and you can learn on YouTube. You see, Internet of Things, virtual reality. So these are the skill gaps. Because the world has changed. You've seen it. This is a new world. And even for us, it's not about having a PhD or being a professor. We've come to realize that with this new digital economy, with this new digital ecosystem, everybody is on the same level. It's up to you. Because today, they are talking about lifelong learning. Learning doesn't stop after your degree, or after your diploma, or after you drop out, or even after you've earned your professorship. You must begin and continue to learn, and then unlearn, and then relearn. This is the new world we have found ourselves. If not, you wake up one day, you discover that you are outdated. I used to remember this incident with my mom. There were a series of old CD videos. It was like, look, TV. I said, dispose of these things, you don't need them. She said, no, why? Let's leave them, I said, you won't need this. Things are changing. Sell them because it will reach a time, nobody will buy. They will become like archives. She refused to listen to me. Lo and behold, the days passed by, and she was telling me, can you imagine she wanted to take this to the market to sell? Nobody was looking at her. I said, what did I tell you? So she had a copier. I said, you see now, this copier, I don't know how much you bought it then. About 90,000. I said, go and sell it. Or 100 or something thousand. Because very soon it will be outdated. People are even having their outside devices that they can print. So nobody will need this. That is why you must continue learning or learning. That is what we have found ourselves as a result of this digital economy or space that's been enabled as a result of ICT and connected devices. And now we're talking about 5G. From your home, you can even be controlling the curtain, the lighting, locking one door or the other, or monitoring what is going on. You can have it. From your phone, you can be seeing your kids and what they are doing in their schools, where you can monitor. So how do you fit in? So these are the realities. So next page, please. Next slide. So the opportunities: digital banking, remote work or freelancing, and mentioning, they call it the gig economy. People today, they felt, look, I'm tired of working going out. From the internet, because of this digital economy, people can work from any part of the world. They are looking for people that can do certain things. A company in Malaysia can, because of your digital skill, can say, look, we're putting this advert, come and apply. You'll help us in our marketing, whatever, digital marketing. And you'll be marketing for them. Online, you'll be, virtual reality, blockchain and crypto, online education, content creation. I mentioned content creation very much in the last class. Just your writing skill can fetch you then the shared economy and then the digital platforms. These are opportunities that are available for you. Next. So in conclusion, you can see there's a shared vision here. And then those involve those impacted by the change, establish measures of success, implement the change, lead by example, build a plan, communicate through phases. You may not get everything right, but you can start in bits and in phases before you get there. And then you can now measure results. Thank you. So I will encourage you please look for the link for the last lecture. At least I was not restricted. Here I just wanted to bring the reality because those that attended the last lecture will make this. So you can see the evidence. The last lecture I tried to be as more practical as possible to show the realities. Thank you.
Yet. Sit down, everybody. You will realize that you missed the first session, which has to do with the lecture on technique for for launching a startup. Now, the lecturer is here today to take on Group A. But considering the fact that time is not on our side, we have decided that you are going to be part of this lecture, right? So you just sit down while Group A part gently walking and we see how far we can go with this lecture. So just be patient, right? Just be patient with that. Members of Group A can come in now. And I'm sorry, because of the shortness of time. Hello? Because time is not on our side, we will not be able to entertain any questions at this juncture. So whatever questions you have, please forward it to the center. We will respond accordingly. So please sit down, sit down, sit down. Now, yes. Now listen. Listen to this information on your business plan composition. You are supposed to submit both hard copy and e-copy. If you have your hard copy with you right now, you can submit it to the center staff who are here with us today. But there's an email you are supposed to forward the e-copy to. So please do that. And the deadline is Monday. The deadline is Monday next week. Yeah, please, can you sit down and let's continue with the second session. Now, for the benefit of those who are not here in the morning, I started by announcing that the final for the business plan competition is on Thursday next week. When the opening ceremony of the Global Entrepreneurship Week will hold, you are all expected to be part of it. That day, all the quarter-finalists, semi-finalists, finalists, and winner will be announced. Wow, it is interesting that many of you don't even know where the Entrepreneurship Center is, right? Now, you know where the First Bank is located? Yeah, that's the building. for the Entrepreneurship Center. So if you want to take your hard copy there, go to the First Bank building. That's the Center for Entrepreneurship Development. I told you that the filing for the business plan competition is next week. All the winners will be announced that day. We are going to have a lot of guests here that day. So I appeal to you to be of good behavior. The next thing we are going to do is to move straight into the second session, which is the session on techniques for launching a startup. Both Group A and B should be inside the hall right now. To facilitate this session, we have an expert industry as always do. Yeah, can I ask Mr. Jesse here, please? Mr. Jesse. We have an expert from the industry, Mr. Entrepreneurship. Yes, he's an economist and an experienced industry professional. He will be here to take us through this important topic. Please allow me to welcome to the podium Mr. Entrepreneurship. Please give him a round of applause.
Good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon, everybody. Okay, we are going to. Hello. Now, I want you to find out the students in this class, and my friend there already informed me. Let me calm down so that we can talk face to face. Okay? Can you project it? All right. Do you see that? Techniques for launching a startup. My name is Jesse, okay? Is that okay? Hello? Alright. Now, I'm informed that people in this class are 300 level to final year students, generally. Is it not? Is it not? Okay. So I want to plead with you, okay? For the next few minutes, maybe an hour or two, I want you to try and pay attention, because what I'm about to give to you in very short term, people pay a minimum of $4,000 to learn it. Did you hear what I said? Now, how much is $4,000? In today's currency, how much is $4,000? That's about 2 million naira, is it not? 2 million naira. So we are going to learn something that would have cost you to learn. So I want you to pay attention so that you can gain the best, okay, from what you're about to learn. Now, we are supposed to go through what is called techniques for launching a startup. How many of you know what a startup is? Sorry, just anybody? Do you know what a startup is? You know what a startup is? Okay, who else? Is that what? A business that is coming up, is it not? Or a business that is not a business. Is it okay? Alright. Now, we want to, I'm sure a lot of people here want to be the next down with it. Okay? Or the next Adelia. The next, maybe Bill Gates. Now, you're going to learn the very principles, the same principles that all of these industry players, locally or globally, the same principles they deploy to start companies. I'm sure you have ideas already, ideas for businesses, ideas for ventures you want to create, but you see, there is always a challenge of translating an idea into a business. And I'm going to explain why there is a challenge and what are the possible ways to bypass those challenges. So the first question again, go back to the first page, first slide. So look at it, techniques for launching a startup. And right underneath that, you see what we call design thinking for startup. How many engineers do we have here? Hello? How many engineers do we have here? Engineers. Okay, engineers. Hello. Engineers, listen carefully. I want to teach you something. Now this word design thinking is more related to engineers, but it's no more an engineering terminology. It's not a terminology that cuts across every field of life. If you type in your Google search page, design thinking, you'll be amazed at what you see. So in these few minutes that we have together, I want you to pay attention, because what you're about to get will change your life positively, maybe forever. Okay? So the first thing we're going to look at is what is design thinking. The next slide, sir. Look at this. Design thinking, a unique technique for launching startup. The next. Design thinking. Now, like I said, design thinking, like the word goes, design and thinking. Hours. How many of you are creative here? If you are creative, let me see your hand up. If you think you are creative, let me see your hand up. Okay, that's fine. How many of you? How many of you are not creative? Let me see your hand. If you think you're not creative, let me see your hand. I'm sure when I said how many of you are creative, you were thinking of how to draw, is it not? Yeah? No. So, what does it mean to be creative? What does it mean to be creative? To be creative, I'm sure if I ask you, there was time, you say to be creative is to produce something, to bet something, to engineer something. So, someone told you you're not creative because maybe you can't draw, or maybe you cannot sketch, or maybe you cannot build maybe some artistic device. But that's not what creativity is. Creativity is a mindset. Creativity is a mindset. Creativity is a way of thinking that solves problem. Did you hear what I said? I said creativity is a mindset. It's a way of thinking that solves problem. So we're going to be dealing with creativity, innovation. How do you come up with innovative ideas? What do you do to start a company? What do people do to start a company? One day, years passed, we didn't have a lot of the things that Dangote and the likes are doing right now. We didn't have them packaged in the form that they are today. Someone was thinking creatively. Someone was thinking innovatively. And those things are with us today. We pay so much money for it. I'm sure you've seen, if you look at the news, you come across Nigerians who are creating companies every day. Young people like you. I'm sure when you come to our studio, you meet people, young people, 20, 21, 22, 23, 27, people who are running companies that produce money in hundreds of millions. Young people. So sometimes when you see people drive flashy cars, young people, not everybody is fraudulent. There are people who are using ideas like what we're going to talk about today to produce results, start companies. Now, one of the things I was supposed to teach you is the history of startups in Nigeria. The history of entrepreneurship. So let me just quickly go through that so that we'll put that aside. Now, the history of entrepreneurship in Nigeria started way back before the white people came. When people started producing crops, and then they were looking for new ways to market those crops, sell those crops. Some very innovative people started thinking of how to apportion the farm products to sell to neighboring villages, neighbors, and the likes. That's where entrepreneurship started. What we call startup. Starting a business, creating a business. That's where it started. Now, over the years, of course, the white people came and colonization changed the dynamics of doing business in Nigeria briefly. And we started experiencing a drain where Africans were made to produce for the Western nations. That's in the past. Then afterwards, Nigeria gained their independence and we began again a revolution to create companies. Companies that can defy odds, challenges. Sorry, I want to just ask a question. Do you know of any company that is doing well, a young company? Somebody can just tell me, do you know of any company that is doing well? A young company, don't call MTN, don't call Glow, don't call Dangote. Do you know of any company that you think is doing well? Owned by a young person. Do you know of any? You say what? What do you call it? I'm not hearing you. What? What do they do? Affiliate marketing. Marketing, affiliate marketing. That's nice. Okay, how about any other one? Say what? Have you heard of Waka now? I don't know if you've heard of Waka now. Have you heard of Waka now? I'm sure you've heard of Waka now. I'm sure you've heard of what's those guys name? What are they? Those guys that sold their company with that name. A fintech company. There are fintech companies. Paystack. Do you know the guys that own Paystack? They're just slightly above 30. Are you aware? Huh? Seller. I'm sure if I ask you, you have so many names to call. Now, I want to pay attention. The reason why I asked you for those companies is because the people that started those companies started like 5 years ago, 6 years ago. Paystack, for example, started less than 10 years ago. And how much do you sell Paystack? Are you aware? $200 million. The two boys that started Paystack, if they come into this classroom, you will not believe they are the ones. They are like you. They are not older than you in terms of facial appearance. But there's something that they know. It is design thinking. So we're going to go into design thinking now, but I wanted to prep you up, give you a background of what entrepreneurship is, a startup. So first of all, let us have a working definition of a startup. Okay? So a startup is an idea that has come into a business form. An idea that has come into a business form. I said a startup is an idea that has come into a business form. So when you see the word startup, it's what the first thing that should come to your mind is a startup is an idea, a business idea that is not just an idea of a business. Is that okay? Is that okay? All right. So can you bring the slide back? Yes, thank you. So now, I said we're going to look at design thinking because that's what you need to create a startup. So there's no need to spend so much time giving you history. Let's go into what you produce result. So design thinking. So yes. Benefit of design thinking. The rest. Now look at the word. Just hold on. Design thinking is applicable to all types of companies and organizations, startup, SMEs, large companies, NGOs, public corporations, and the rest. Now, the very concept of design thinking, if you have a question, like Prof said, just hold on to questions, we'll address them later. Is that okay? Now, the very concept of design thinking is, Tim Ford started that concept some years ago. Okay, he's an American. He's an engineer. He took that terminology of design, being able to think creatively, ways to bring about a new and innovative idea, something that is not regular. Let me give you an example. Let me use this microphone, not mine. Look at this microphone. Someone designed this microphone. Someone designed this microphone. Previously, I don't know if you see the old microphones. They're very funny. One of our slides, you have pictures or something like that. But someone thought about this. And they designed it in such a way that they said, okay, why don't we make something that is wireless instead of having cords stretch out? Now, this is one of the things that design thinking produced. In fact, the camera, thank you very much. The camera, if you see the old cameras that they used some years ago, they were bulky, they were time, and I'll show you some of them. They were very bulky. But someone in one of these classes thought about it, said, can we make something smaller? And then they came about smartphones. You know that with smartphones today, you can do just about everything these cameras do. Are you aware? Yes. So all of these things came as a result of design thinking. So now, in case I'm not giving you a definition of design thinking just simply means it's more than a philosophy, it's more than an ideology. It is a process. Design thinking is a process for actualizing or breaking. How many of you can sell ice at the North Pole? You know North Poles. The North Pole and the South Pole are the coldest places on Earth. Can you try selling ice block at the North Pole? Hello? Will people buy it? Will anybody buy it? No, they won't buy it. But you know you can sell ice at the North Pole. Yes? Somebody mentioned something about marketing, a company that does marketing. You know, that's one of the things that people who come into this knowledge in marketing are able to do. There are houses designed at the North Pole for vacation. And those houses, people are paying for them just to go for vacation at the North Pole. They're selling ice. It's design thinking. Design thinking is people-centered. In other words, you are creating something that people are able to relate with. How many of you, have you ever thought about selling selling shoes to someone who doesn't have a leg. You thought about it before? Selling shoes to people who don't have legs. Do you know it's possible? It's possible. Because some of the things you have right now, you don't even need them, but you probably bought them. You probably bought them. So the reason is, people need several things. But to start a business, you need to know what they need. And that's one of the reasons why design thinking came about. The next slide. Look at this. This is what I'm going to focus. Design thinking, the 5 stages of design thinking. To be able to create enterprises, companies, organizations, firms that can sustain its life cycle over a long period of time, these things would be a recurring decimal in that company. Apple, for example, Facebook, which other company? UniAbuja. They use this principle every 3 months to come about new products, new services. Look at that. The first one there is what? What's the first box there? Empathize. What's the meaning of empathize? What's the meaning of empathize? Hello? You know what it means to empathize? Is that what?
See yourself in somebody's shoes.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. To empathize is to feel what that person is feeling. If you're going to give someone who lives in the North Pole ice, you need to feel what they feel. You need to see the way they see. Someone felt what they felt. That those who live in the North Pole, they don't have places to go for vacation. Or people who live in hot regions, they want to experience what goes on in the North Pole. So they were able to empathize and go through these other places, and they came about hotels at the North Pole. Hotels that people can go to. So the first one you see there is what? Empathy. Empathy. Say it. Empathy. Before Dangote came out with cement, Dangote cement, there were other kinds of cement. I don't know if you know them, other names. Now most of those cements, they had challenges with bagging, they don't stay long, different dynamics. Then some people went about doing research. How do we get cement that easily dries up, that's baggable, convenient, easy to move about? What they were doing was what? Empathy. They saw the challenges. They saw, let me give you a typical example. How many of you drink sachet water? How many of you drink sachet water? Okay. I was watching a video some days ago, a BBC video. They were talking about water production in Nigeria, in Africa. And one of the things they said was the volume of consumption of sachet water in Nigeria is such that the business is so big. It's in billions. In other words, every month people make billions from sachet water. But are you aware somebody thought about it? Are you aware? Someone empathized. A lot of people cannot afford bottled water. So someone was thinking, can we make something that is smaller, less expensive to produce, and then you can drink it, and it will cost you just about almost nothing. That's what we call empathy. So in design thinking, the first thing you have to learn, and don't forget I told you, to be able to start a company, an organization, or produce any product or service that will benefit others and people will be able to pay for, you need to first of all find out, what do people need? What do they need? What do they want? What will they benefit? As in, what will be beneficial to them? That's where empathy comes in. So in empathy, you step into the person's shoes and then you begin to learn what that person knows. You begin to feel what that person feels. Take for example, how many of you heard of fintechs, like fair money? How many of you heard of fair money? I don't know if you've heard of fair money. You know heard of fair money? They are big. I'm sure you know that, right? Now, I know fair money. In fair money, it's a fintech, financial technology firm. They give money without collateral. Is it not? They give money without collateral. Somebody thought about it. Somebody said, hey, can we give money? A lot of Nigerians need money. There are challenges. 10,000, 20,000, 50,000, 100,000, and I heard they go as much as 500,000 without collateral in Nigeria. Somebody thought about it. Someone empathized. Because if you go to the bank, except you have a relationship with them for a long time, the chances are they won't give you a loan. Are you aware? Are you aware? Someone thought about that idea. And they were able to achieve that idea, that business. Today, let me tell you how much fair money is worth. Fair money is worth over $25 million. And do you know who owns fair money? Young people like you. I'm telling you, young people like you. So that money you're borrowing is your mates that produced it. Yes, I'm telling you. So when you follow through this process, you start a business. I'm telling you, when you're done with this class, not only will you just pass your exams, you start a business. And that business will meet a particular demand, a particular need. So look at it. Empathy is the first step in creating a startup using design thinking. Empathy. Now, I already told you what empathy is. Empathy simply means stepping into the person's shoes. And I give you an example. I said the pure water. Somebody thought about it. Can we produce sachet water? Less expensive, easier to carry. If you are going on the road, you see those boys with plastic rubber on their head. Is it not? If you are testing, just call them. How much? How much is pure water now? I think it's now about 30 naira, is it not? What? 20 naira. Oh, that's nice. Okay, 20 naira. 20 naira. So you say, hey, hello, 20 naira. Against paying for a bottled water of the 100 naira. How much do you drink bottled water here? Yes. Yes, it's also expensive. For a lot of people, it's also expensive. But not everybody has money like you, okay? Some people, sachet water is what they can afford, okay? So someone was able to simplify it. Do you know who owns Nestle, that produces Nestle water? Of course, the company is so old, okay? It's older than Nigeria. Now, Nestle is worth billions of dollars. Why should somebody make all this money? How about the guys on the streets? That's where sachet water came into view. Now, producing sachet water, they have to do this first of all. Empathize. They have to feel what Nigerians were feeling. According to that BBC report, sachet water is the next most viable business in Nigeria. Next to oil. Sachet water business is the next most viable business. In other words, it's a business that cannot fail. When you say a business is viable, it means the business is financially proof to produce results. So people were able to empathize. Then the next thing was to define. Once you feel what the person is feeling, the next thing is what? Define. What are you defining? What are you defining? You are defining the problem statement. How do you define a problem statement? I want you to think. What do you think people in the University of Abuja would need right now? What do you think they would need? Your business can start from the campus, is it not? Is it not? Yes. I don't even know Facebook. Do you know how old that boy is? Huh? Sorry, I'm calling that boy. I'm trying to make him sing the way I want to sing, okay? He's a man. He is 41, is it not? Are you aware? Facebook started on campus. Facebook started making money on campus. And till tomorrow, Facebook uses design thinking. Every 3 months, I'll tell you how to achieve it, okay? Just let's understand it first. Now, the next one is what? You define the statement. What do people need? They need water. So there must be a problem statement around that challenge. What do you think a problem statement about sachet water will be? What do you think it will be? People need cheaper water. Is it not? That's a problem statement. People need what? Cheaper water. Simple. It's not rocket science. It's not rocket science. Sometimes when people come, people talk about hydration. We'll go to that. When people think about business, they think you have to be very clever. It's not true. That's why I asked you, I said, are you creative? Now, probably gave me a very short time to deal with you. So that's why by now, I split this class into groups. Because there are several practical steps we're supposed to do, okay? But there's really not much time for it. Now, I said, you define the problem statement. So, pure water, people need clean drinking water. Is it not? Yes. People need clean drinking water. Are you aware that you can create a new business from sachet water? Think about it. What does people need? Sachet water is becoming expensive. How do you simplify it? How do you make it cheaper? How do you repackage it so that people can have it? That's a problem statement. Cheaper water, is it not? Huh? Listen to me. I started by telling you, I said, what I'm teaching you may sound slightly above, like I say, your pay grade, but the cost of this class is $4,000. I said $4,000. I want you to listen carefully, because whether you like it or not, you will come across this thing in your life again. So, outside academic, bro, I want to say something. When I was in the University of Ibadan, that's my colleague. When I was in the University of Ibadan, I sat down in classes like this, listen to professors, wonderful professors. UI has wonderful professors. They talk, and then they go, carry a bag, and walk away. But those professors, they are living their life. You have opportunity to learn something for your own life. The moment you step out of school, the reality of what they were teaching you dawns on you. And if you mistakenly play with what they taught you, you will find out that you can't go back there. To go back there will mean to invest another 4 or more years into what they taught you. So when I first became, this my design, I'll just tell you. When I became a graduate assistant, the first thing I did was to tell those students in the University of UniAbuja. I told them, I said, listen, I'm fresh like you, I just came out of the university system. I said, but I'm telling you, every opportunity you have to learn things that can improve your life, take it seriously. Because you see, you may never have the opportunity again. And then the opportunity to use that thing will have passed you. Then you just become one of those people in the crowd. It's okay to be one of the people in the crowd, but Nigeria is moving at a pace where we need more innovators. We need more creative thinkers. We need more enterprises. We are so many. There's enough companies to take everybody. I'm telling you. We need more people to think creatively, produce results, and then employ all those people who did not listen in class. Do you hear me? Yes. That's why this kind of lecture is organized. So that when you leave class, you are giving back to companies from school. You're already thinking of the ideas. And if you feel you didn't get enough, you come and meet us in the office. We'll arrange your brains in a more proper form so that you can think properly, okay? So I said, define the statement. So now, how do we create new kinds of water? Cheaper water. How do we create it? What do we do? Are you thinking about it? Are you thinking about it? Are you aware that you can... People need water everywhere. The weather is hot. Is it not? You can create very portable, neat water cans in different places. Okay? With maybe disposable cups. Okay? Maybe with something. So that on campus, people are moving, they just stop by. Take your water and they drink. They can pay you 5 naira, 10 naira. Do you know how much Coca-Cola makes from every bottle of Coca-Cola? Do you know? 10 naira. Coca-Cola is worth trillions, is it not? In naira. In naira, no, not in naira. This is dollars. It's worth billions, is it not? Billions! But they make 10 naira, 15 naira. So, let's think creatively, okay? Now, I'm using pure water because it's easy. So you can think of something else. What do your classmates, what do they need? You are empathizing. Remember, the first thing is what? Empathize. Every business starts with trying to get into the mind or the shoes of the people you want to service. If not, that company is dead on arrival. Can you think of any business that people started and failed? Can you think of anyone? There are so many. There are so what? There are so many. Do you know why? Because they did not go through this process. Once you follow this foolproof process, you will have companies, organizations that, regardless of what's happening, you will stay ahead of the innovation train. So, define. Then the next part is what? What's that? I'm not sure if I've heard that word before. I did. My friend, have you heard it before? Huh? You've not? I don't know the word I did before. I did. Okay, how about ideation? How many of you have heard of ideation before? How many of you have heard of ideas before? Ideas. Deductive thinking. Engineers, you should know better. Deductive what? Reasoning. Ideation came from the word ideas. The word ideation, it means to, or ideas, it means to bring forth ideas. That's the next part of the design thinking process. To produce a startup, to give birth to a startup, after you empathize, you make a problem statement. Then the next thing is to what? Give birth to what? Ideas. The word ideas also means solutions. And in the ideation process, when you get to this third part, it is the most exciting. Like I said, I wanted to come to this class teach you something that you can use, okay? Something you can use. So that when you leave today, you start practicing it. Now, the ideation process requires that you don't think alone. You know what? Don't think alone. This is one of the reasons why companies fail. Most companies, in school they taught us sole entrepreneurship. What do I call it? What is sole entrepreneurship? What does it mean? One-man business. Are you aware that the highest rate of failure in business is one-man business? Are you aware? Now, yesterday night, I was checking my Google feeds because they send me records of companies that are making money, companies that are collecting funds every day. Guess what? 10 of those companies In fact, all the companies are made up of 3, 2, 6, 5 people. Nobody, I said what? Nobody will give you money to fund a company for you alone. They don't do it anymore. If they give it to you, just know that they are giving you that money because they want to collect interest from you. Venture capitalists, if you don't know that word, don't worry about that. Venture capitalists, they give money to companies with more than one person. They only support ideas that are formed by a group of people. Do you know why? The chances of that company surviving is higher. So, in the ideation process, what you do is that you bring people together. You bring people together to begin to give ideas. And I know if I ask you now, I say, okay, let's think about solutions. And I will do that now, okay? Let's think of solutions to reducing the cost of water within Abuja campus. Let's think of ways to reduce the cost of potable drinking water within the campus. I'm sure some people will give some ideas. They're like, no, not that idea. In the ideation process, no idea is foolish. When we teach design thinking, in a design thinking class, every idea is important. Really, there is no such thing as foolish idea. Do you hear what I said? There is no such thing as access to drinking water. I'm not talking about the one that the school pumps. How do we simplify drinking water, potable drinking water on campus? How? I gave you an example, right? So think about it. How else do we do it? As a business, if you want to talk, there's a microphone. You can talk to us. If your idea is so good, maybe after the class, you come and meet us. We translate it to a business, and then you start making money.
Let me just addition to what you said. Starting up a business in a cheaper rate of producing water in the campus. I am thinking of an idea whereby you have your refrigerator close by to you with a portable can of drum, very portable one, and then there is a way you can connect the refrigerator in such a way that whether there is solar, whether there is NEPA light or not, you should always have a constant water available in that.
Cold water. What else? Listen, if the idea is so put together, it can become a business. Remember, the first thing is that you are empathizing. So think like someone who wants to use it.
So I'm going to buy a bit into your idea box. I want to develop it.
Please.
Okay. The idea that came up in my mind was like in strategic points, like environment and Zen and the rest. There will be a stand, very attractive and beautiful, and a dispenser water kind of, having that machine as a dispenser, you can actually get cold water or hot water from it. And then there will be a serving cup, which if anybody uses, disposes it. And a list, let me say by the wall. Okay, you can come with your regular cans. So but for 75 cl, you pay 10 naira to fill it up. For this cup, that's the normal cup we provide you, 5 naira. And it depends, just rate it by the CL, by their measurements. That's what's fine.
Thank you. Please, I want to hear 5 ideas. So 5 ideas that will continue. Sorry, someone, okay, quickly. That was the madam is here.
Yes, sir. If I can think back, before pure water comes in, we were hiding the water inside the normal white leather. So we can still go back to that, type the water inside the simple white leather, and make it cool, some ice.
Okay, what else? reusable cans.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you. Now, listen carefully. Listen carefully. Listen carefully. Remember I told you, I said, I watched a BBC report that said that next to oil, sachet water is the next biggest business in Nigeria. Shock you. So what you're doing, you're buying into an industry that is foolproof. There's money. When you leave here, I'm sure you're going to drink water, is it not? You drink water. So listen, I told you, no idea is foolish. No idea is foolish. Let me go back to Facebook. Facebook, from the story, when Facebook started, I'm sure most of you are on Facebook here. If you're not on Facebook, it's okay to understand the word. I'm sure most of you are on Facebook. When Facebook started as a solution to a problem. Do you know what the problem was? Do you know what the problem was? I'm not sure what the problem was. He said, let me tell you the problem, so I don't understand. Those boys, they found out that the school was big and they needed a way to get others to know everybody on campus without having to knock on their door. Are you aware? They go for parties. And you know when you go for parties, you just meet every kind of person, random people, you know. And then you don't know their names, you don't know what department they are in, you don't know anything about them. So they said, how about we design a page on campus where you get to know everybody. You know their hostel, you know their name, you know what they like. So it becomes easier, and then their contact details. So if you want to talk to maybe Fola or Peter, you have the details there, is it not? That's what brought about Facebook. Today, Facebook is what, okay, let me say Mark Zuckerberg is what, as the last count, is what, about $32 billion. $32 billion. Facebook started less than 20 years ago, is it not? About 20 years ago. $32 billion. So you could just be producing the next Facebook. So start thinking. So anyway, those ideas are good, and I would think about them, okay? We can put them all together, then redefine it. But I have a very good solution to it, or what I think is a good solution. Is what I told you. Listen, how much is a plastic of sewage? The sewage can, how much is it? What? $5.50 for the refill. How much is the big can? For the first, you're buying for the first time, how much is it? How much? The sewage can. I think it's 1,800. Is it not? Have you seen that car? The car. They send a filter car. You put on top of the sewage can, and then you can drink water. You know how much that thing is? It's 2,800. 2,800 plus 1,800. How much is that? 4,200. Is it not? Thereabout. Is it not? Yes. So with 4,200, you already have a business. Then the next thing you want to do, well, I won't do what my friend said, putting it in sachet water. It's not very hygienic, okay? It's not very hygienic because you have to touch the water and all the lights. You understand? So you can tell people, come with your cups. You have this water bottle cans that people buy, small ones. So it's not, you can just buy one. It's $8.60 in supermarkets, is it not? Keep it in your bag everywhere you go. Then those points are there. You come, like she told us, 75 CL will cost you like 10 naira. This will cost you. How many can you sell from that big jar? I don't know the size of that sewage container. But I'm very sure if you try it, you'll be in business. You'll be in business. All you need to do, like you also heard, make it very neat. Now, all of these things we've gotten so far from empathize, define, ideas. That business that we're talking about can fetch you your money for masters, your money for maybe your first car, your money for your next house. And if you run it properly, that business can grow and become bigger. So the next part is what? What's the fourth one? What's the first one? Engineers, what's the fourth one there? Proto what? Prototype. What is a prototype? What's a prototype? Do you know what a prototype is? Huh? Like a mini replica. Is it not? Huh? A test replica. That's what the prototype is. A test what? Replica. For example, what I just explained, I built it in my head before I said it. I was just piecing it together. Buy a cereal can, buy that filter system. They sell it on GG, they sell it on, what's the name? They sell it on the other platform where they sell things. What's it called? What? Jumia. They sell it on Jumia. You buy it. Start with your friends. Start with your what? Your friends. I'm telling you. Start with your friends. With your friends, your neighbors. You put it together. You say, I'm selling water. Portable drinking water. This one is better than sachet water because it is purified, is it not? You purify it. The filter system is sure, is it not? Now, to build that, what you're doing is what? You're prototyping. Now, we're using physical assets, physical things. But you can also apply this to services. You can give me an example. Can you give me an example of a service that we can ideate? Something that we can use on campus. An idea of something we can use on campus. A service this time around, a service you can render that people need. What do people need? What kind of services do people need on campus? Outside water. What? Laundry. Yes, laundry is also very physical, but I'm talking about something that is so what? No, not just food. I mean, it's okay. Maybe I'm not using the right word for you. I want us to go beyond things like
what about materials?
Materials, like clothing materials.
Books, explain you can get it online.
Yes. That's exactly what I'm talking about. Are you aware? Listen carefully. Hello? The reason it's easier to make first class today. Listen. The reason it's easier to make first class today is because back in the days, when you need to read, if you are worth it, I can see. I'm telling you, including one person that I know, he will give you a first class. Huh? Hello? Yes. Because knowledge is available. But there's some people that are lazy. They don't know how to get the right books, the right materials. You can create a platform. A platform. It could even be a WhatsApp platform where people can get access to materials for every course. Because some people who are lazy, they can't do research. I'm giving you free ideas now. Come and pay me for it. Eh? Okay, so you create that WhatsApp platform and say, look, if you need materials for XYZ, this topic, meet me. How much? Maybe you may give 500 naira, 1,000 naira. How many people do you have in your class? Maybe 100 people. If 40 of them are lazy and they pay you 1,000 each, how much is that? 40,000. How much do you pay for Facebook? Nothing. WhatsApp? Nothing. How much do you pay for data in a month? I'm sure maybe you don't use more than 1,500 for data in a month. Okay, hold on. data more than 1,005. How much data do you get for 1,005? 2.4. You are a heavy user. Huh? See, listen carefully. I'm trying to simplify the business, okay? I don't mean the one you use to chat with boys and girls. No. Okay, let's assume inclusive of that. How much is 6 gig? You said? How much is 6 gig? 1.5. Listen carefully, listen carefully. Hello? Listen carefully. This, I told you something. I said, by the time I'm done with this, you would have ideas to translate into businesses. It may sound funny, but that idea is doable even now. I said even now, is it not? There are people who want to write projects. Projects. Now, to write a project, you need at least access to a minimum of 40 write-ups, contents, thoughts about that topic you're writing. You are aware. Except it's a topic that nobody has ever researched upon. And you know, Africans are used to lying to themselves. Nobody is trying to reinvent the wheels. What I say? Nobody is trying to what? Reinvent the wheels. Nobody will give you an award for reinventing the wheels. Somebody already invented the wheels. Do you hear me? Somebody already did. There is always somebody somewhere that says something about what you're writing about. So, if you can get all those content together and say, hey, what are you writing on? You say, how to make beans without red oil. Fine. How to make beans without red oil. You say, you go and do your search and say, these are all the materials you need. I'm sure you will not spend up to 500 MB on it. Then you give it out for, say, 5,000. That's the business. Are you aware? Because what you're doing is you empathize with people who don't have the time or they don't have the knowledge. Then you define the statement. How do you define something like that? People need access to content, to materials, course materials, alright? Research materials. That's really a business. So then you ideas. Now, listen, the reason ideation is so important in a startup is because ideas, have you heard the word before? Ideas rule the world. Have you heard it before? While you are thinking of that idea, someone is coming up with a better idea. That's why companies invest heavily in design thinking. Because they have to constantly reinvent themselves. Improve on their services. Improve on their products. Whether for marketing purposes or for bringing new services, technologies, products to the market. They have to constantly do design thinking. Constantly. Let me tell you, design thinking is one of the fastest growing fields across board, all over the world. All over the world. So, you come up with ideas. And I told you, don't start companies, look for people who have similar thoughts. Because you see, beyond them inspiring you, their ideas there's something we do, one of the things we do during ideation sessions. We call it brain writing. How many of you know brain writing? How many of you know brain writing? Brain writing. Okay, never mind. There is a concept called brain writing, okay? Write it down, go and do research on it. There is a concept called brain writing. Listen, the very moment I told you about water in a bottle with a cover, someone else was thinking. Do you know what I was doing? I was writing on your brain. It's called brain writing. I was writing on your brain. The moment you heard it, you started thinking about it. Then you started creating new possible ways about it. Now, listen, that's why they tell you, to form alliances when you're creating a startup. This is the reason why enterprises, companies fail in Nigeria. One-man businesses. That's why they fail. Because most times, one-man business relies on just his own idea. And in most cases, your own idea is not enough. Okay? Do you hear what I said? Okay. So, take for example what I told you, course materials. You go to a class, the lecturer is done lecturing, and then he tells you, read up this, or we have a test. You, smart guy, create a WhatsApp group. Put content there, but love post content. Tell people to come in, to join you. Or you do your read up, create nuggets, droppings, and then get people to come pay you talking. And if you do it well, more people will pass their exams in class. Do you understand? Then you are meeting a need. You empathize, you understand? You are meeting a need. This is how businesses start. So, the CBN, the other day I was having a conversation with some people. The CBN wants to create startups from the university system. Are you aware? Are you aware that there's money for undergraduates now, for businesses, from CBN? Are you aware? You're not aware. How many of you are aware? Listen, that idea I just gave to you, if you can sit down with it, okay? Of course, you need more, okay? And I'll show you what of the things you need, okay? It's a bit complicated, but I'll show you. If you can do that, you can approach CBN for money. They'll probably give you 2 million naira. With 2 million naira, you can set up at least 50 of those water cans around campus. Are you aware? Employ people. Pay them next to nothing. They also have access to water themselves. Business. So if you're not aware, CBN is giving money to undergraduates now. And you don't need to do anything. You don't need to go anybody. Just have a good idea. Did you hear what I said? Hello? So the next one I said was prototyping. That's what we deved up. So I gave you an example of a prototype for the service. Is it not? So you test it. Create a group. Call 2-3 people. Say, hey, I have this idea. What do you think about it? They'll say, oh, idea is nice. Let's work on it. You start working. You follow this process. Okay? When you're done, then I'll take you to the next phase. What you're going to do. If we do this, in this class, we can have at least, to be fair, let's say 20 new companies that in the next 5-10 years will be making at least, let's say, 100 million. Imagine you're making 100 million in the next 5 years. Minus tax, minus all the other things. You won't be looking for a job. You will not be at home. Or you become a nuisance, stealing people's phones. Huh? That won't happen. Because you'll be so rich. You'll be thinking of how to help people. Is it not? Yes. So the last phase is what? Is what? Yes. There is no need going through all the other phases without testing what you have designed, what you have prototyped. So you what? You test. How do you test it? How do you test? When you are testing, most times it's for free. Okay, is it not? Take for example our bottled water, okay? With cover. Now, that business, you can test it with just as little as 5,000. We can test it, is it not? We can test it. Just ensure you tell all your friends, hey, I'm going to be giving you, I want to sell water, but this week it's for free. But come with your water cans. Hello? If you want to make it better, what you do is buy ice making machine. There are simple ice making machines. Hope you know that. Cheaper ones, maybe 60,000 naira. Okay? That will shoot the budget up. But they can just come, take one key and put in their car. Makes it cool, is it not? Is it not? Yes. Yes. How I wish I would just let you see. The biggest companies started like this. All the biggest companies in the world right now, they started like this. Like this. So, you test your product. Is that okay? I said what? You test your what? The product. Just empathize. Go. Go, go, go. Huh? Define. Okay? Go. Huh? Ideas. Go. Go. Huh? Put the time. Go. Stop. Go to the next. Start another document. The other one. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. Stop. No, go back. Stop. Okay. That's another place. Am I going to talk? Am I going to talk? Yeah? I pass one hour. Okay. So, any suggestion for a business? Do you have any idea for a business you want us to quickly think about? Because I'm moving to something else now. Do you have any idea you want us to think about? I'm giving you free consultancy for 5 minutes. Any idea? Please, I want to hear it. Free consultancy, it's yours. Free. That's a fantastic idea. Hello? That idea is already in the works. People already have done it. Yeah, well. Now, there are places where you go to. The camera is remotely controlled. Is it not? Remotely controlled. The person doesn't have to stand there. Can be sitting at the back and just be controlling the knob. You can even make it better. Engineers will know this. Just add motion sensor. Motion sensor. Such that as I move, the camera will move with you. It already exists. You know, we are where we are. Huh? We are in our level, okay? So in our level, this is still applicable, but fine idea. But you see, when you're thinking about an idea for business, these are the things you must think about. Don't just think about solving a problem. How well does that problem cascade? Because if you solve that problem for 3-4 people, how do you make money? Huh? How do you make money? You have to think about that. How do you replicate that thing so that a lot of people can buy into that idea? So that's one of the things you have to think about when you bring such ideas, okay? Because that, you have to think about how many cameramen are there who are standing. How many of them would want that kind of service? Can they afford it? Because if they can't afford it, you have created a new problem. Yes. So that's fine idea, but it will be capital intensive. Except somebody you can partner. I will tell you, hello, one of the things we do in ideation classes, ideation sessions, all over the world, is we never put people of the same mindset together. What they do usually is, you bring an engineer, a doctor, maybe a chemist, maybe a lawyer, an economist, and just bring people from different fields together. You know why? They will be able to see from their own perspective. That's why when you want to start a company, Don't just start with just engineers, or with lawyers, or with doctors. Start with, let me give you an example. I was somewhere yesterday. I was some gathering, some place, a company. That company, what they do is, they render services to people. Do you know what their services? How to find doctors near you. They have an app that helps you to locate doctors around you. Now, doctors around you means the whole world. People are buying into it. It's a very coded place. They make money in dollars. And you know, a lot of people are home. During the COVID era, people couldn't go out. Is it not? A lot of people were sick. Now, that app came into being, such that just by clicking that app, you see a doctor that lives 2 blocks away. Then you call him up. He comes, meets with you, diagnoses your challenge, and treats you right there. That company is probably worth hundreds of millions of naira to talk to you. It's owned by a doctor. But the doctor could not achieve it alone. He works with engineers, designers, industrial designers, graphic designers, web designers, engineers of different kinds. That company is working right now. They are making money. While people were sitting at home, someone was thinking about that. Doctors near you. So you can think of every kind of idea. Every kind of idea. Don't wait for a job. Listen carefully. Listen. So that the music can enter you. Don't wait for a job. Think of ideas. Paystart. Hello. Paystart sold a company they started it in 2014, I think, 2014, is it not? About that time, if I'm not mistaken. They sold it for $200 million. I told you when I started, I said, if those boys come into this place, you probably are bigger than them. They started it as they were leaving school. They sold it for $200 million. So you could be the next Paystart. Is it not? The next Paystart. If you think creatively and you follow this process. Now, this is where we're going to come into. So 1 minute. Okay, listen carefully. Now, you see that's page. Do you see that page? What's there? What's that called? A business what? A business product canvas. If I normally, what we charge to do this thing you're seeing there is a minimum of $1 million. This stuff you're seeing. We designed something like this for a private jet company of recent. When you have an idea, wonderful idea. Most people will not want to relate to your idea. Most people, except people like us. Until you have something like this. A business model. What I call it? A business what? You know, in the former days, we call it the olden days, right? Of course, it's still applicable though. People use business plan. What I call it? Business plan. Do you know a business plan? How many of you have heard of the business plan before? How many of you have written a business plan before? How many of you have a business plan? Wow. Okay. The business model canvas is a guide to structuring your business such that from A to Z, you have everything intact. In fact, no bank will give you money without this. No bank should give you money without this. Nobody will invest into you without this. Let me give you one example. I have a pilot friend of mine. He flies some of the richest people in this country. He wanted to start a business, an airline business. So he approached an investor and told the man, said, "Sir, you are an oil tycoon, you have money. I want to buy a private jet." The man told him, he said, "Okay, do you have a business model?" He said, "I have a business plan." He's billionaire, looked at it. He said, no, I don't want this. He told him to go and do this. So he came to meet us and said, "Hey, do you know business model?" I said, "Come on, man, let's say, it's fun to you." Now, we did this. I'm sure that those planes are already flying. Look at that business model canvas. It's not very clear, but I just pick it. The first thing there is what? Key partners. Key what? Once you have an idea, you have gone through the design thinking process. The next thing you are going to do is this. You need to have a business model. Every company has its own business model. If you type on your Google page, you say business model for Facebook, you see it. Business model for Google, you see it. Business model for every business globally, they have a business model drawn on a canvas like this. This is the reason why African businesses fail. African businesses, they don't care about things like this. They think, nice idea. Then the next thing, they put money into it. 30 million naira. 3 months after, the man is wondering, where's the money? Nobody's buying it. Who and who will make our key partners for our pure water business? Number one partner will be what? How many people are the number one partner for every business? Government, regulatory agencies. Can you set up a pure water business without regulatory agencies? They will arrest you. Are you aware? They will arrest you. If you are selling water in on this campus and they will not come to certify that your place is clean, they will arrest you. If someone drank your water, went somewhere and ate food and fell ill, they will think it's your water business. Is it not? Is it not? But if the authorities have given you a letter of certification that, hey, this person is good to do business, like NAFDAC, is it not? Will they arrest you? They will not arrest you. Because the authorities have given you a certificate of approval, health certificate, for example. So, you have to look at who your key partners are. Who do you partner with in that business? Like the water. The suppliers of sewage, for example, they are your partners. Is it not? Is it not? Yes. Yes. So you go and look at, in setting up a business structure, you have to, first thing you look at is what? Your key partners. Different businesses have different kind of partners. So but one of the things we do is to help you look at who your partners are and bring them within your sphere of influence so that you can engage with them without getting into trouble. So in setting up any business, any kind of business. Now, I don't know if you saw Facebook. You saw Facebook in court the other time. I know they won't take Facebook to court in Nigeria, but I don't know if you saw Facebook in court in the US, in Switzerland, European Union. I don't know if you've seen them. Of recent, they're paying billions in lawsuits. Do you know why? Because they breached the regulations. Do you know what? Yes. So their partners, the government authorities, came in and said, hey, you have infringed. You're going to pay XYZ. MTN, for example. Nigeria told MTN to pay some huge amount of money, and MTN almost packed up. Are you aware? Why? Because MTN was engaging outside the structures of partnership with the what? Regulatory authorities. Is it not? Or so we were made to believe. Anyway, so the first thing you do is what? Key partners. Who are your key partners? You define them. The next thing is what? Key activities. Key what? Key what? Many businesses don't know what they are really doing. If they ask you, you have a business, what does a business do? They ask you, what does a business do? You say, we sell water. We sell water. It goes beyond selling water. Is it not? Hello? You question tests. You are using health regulations, okay? Because you are providing people with water. Potable drinking water is crucial for a healthy living. Are you aware? If you fall sick of malaria very often, the first thing you should do is to change your water. Are you aware? Yes. The chances are the water you are drinking is polluted. You don't know. And your body structure is not adjusting perfectly to it. So if you fall ill for malaria, especially malaria, very often, what you need to do is what? Change your water. So you are, when you're into water supply, water provision, you are also into the medical line. Because you're helping people stay healthy. So you know your key activities. What do you have to do? What do you need to be able to deliver on your products or services? What do you need to do always to deliver on what you are promising? The next one is key resources. Key what? Key what? Resources. Key resources. Now, key resources. Every business has key resources. For example, pure water business. What to make up your key resources? Huh? Hello? Say for example, you, right? The personnel, the people who work in that business, that key resource. The next you have is what? The water can itself. Because without the water can, you're not in business. Is that okay? So that's an example of what? Key resources. Then the next one is what? Value proposition. Value what? Value proposition. Value proposition is key to every business. In other words, if your business is going to stay active, if it's going to stay relevant, if it's going to stand the test of time, you need to have value proposition. In other words, what value are you bringing in? What value are you bringing into people's lives? Water, I told you water. It's a good business. Water business is a good business. It's a good business. In fact, it's so good, they are planning something for you in the next future. Let me not say it so that they won't come and look for me. But just know that very soon you'll be paying for every water you drink. Very soon, you'll be paying for every water you drink. There will be no more free water. When you say, I dig my borehole, I'm drinking water. No. Very soon it will be over. Because that business is lifelong business. So they want to structure it so that there will be more money for everybody, like us. So now, you have to have value. You have to bring value. Every business must bring value. Businesses that don't bring value cannot stay for long. You didn't hear what I said? So what value? I told you, you can start up a business rendering services to your classmates, project materials, course content materials. What you're doing, there's a value to what you're doing. There's a value proposition. That value proposition is helping people to get in touch or be in touch with the needs of their coursework, project work. Guiding them in such a way that they are able to be current, so to say, current, this word current, or able to pass their exams. So the next one is what? Is what? Customer relationship. You can have a fine business, and the business will not make money because you have a bad salesman. Imagine you have a pure water business. Somebody comes and is fetching water from the can, and you are irritated. Then you talk to the person roughly. Are you aware that the person may not come back? Is it not? In fact, some people are so emotional. Even if they are testy, they would rather walk past you and remain testy than to come and meet you for that service. Are you aware? So, customer relationship is key in every business. You must be able to keep your customers loyal. I said you must be able to keep your what? Customers loyal. Because you see, once you start a business like Nigeria, once you start a business, somebody else will start it. And if you mess up with the customers, they'll move to the next person. Okay? Alright. The next one is what? Your channels. Channels simply means outlets. How are you moving your goods and services, okay, to the final, audience? In other words, how do you get them to know your business? Okay? How do you get them to know your business? Sometimes it will be word of mouth, right? Sometimes it will be advertorials, right? Maybe, I'm sure you have a blog on campus. You have a blog on campus, you know? You have a blog? You have a newspaper on campus. I'm sure you have. Maybe you just don't know. Okay? So you can deploy it. Look at it. How do you reach your customers? How do you distribute your products or services? So you need to understand that. Because if people know that you're selling water and they don't know, if they don't know you're selling water, nobody will buy it, even though it's a good business. Are you aware? Someone can be walking past the main street, thirsty, but does not know that you are selling, that you sell water, and then you don't make any sales. The next one is what? The customer segment. Listen, you cannot service everybody. Are you aware? There are people who don't use Facebook, as beautiful as Facebook is. Are you aware? There are people who don't use Instagram, as beautiful as Instagram is. There are people who do not drink sachet water. Are you aware? Hello? No matter what, there are people who will not drink that your beautiful water coming from sewer cans. They won't drink it. They can't drink it. So you have to know who your customers are. So you channel your business towards your customers. If you try to sell ice in UAE, no, not UAE, Sahara Desert, what will happen? You will be run at a loss. Because the heat is such that the ice will just, in fact, as you are holding the ice, it just melts. Is it not? So you have to know who your customers are. Then the next one, very key, is cost structure. What I call it? Now, that's another reason why businesses fail. Businesses fail because most people don't understand the cost structure of their business. What are the cost components of that business? How do you keep your costs so streamlined? So that we say in business terminology, lean start. You're starting a business, you don't have to put so much money into it so that your overhead is not huge and then no profits, or the business dies because things are bad. So what you need to know all the cost components. And for that business, you see, I tried to simplify it. I told you, I said, for now, just keep your water can under a cool place. Because if you want to buy a refrigerator, you shoot up your cost components. Is it not? Is it not? Because now you need electricity. You need the refrigerator. Okay? Then you need other things to help for sanitary, purposes. So that ice can move into people's cups or containers without germs getting into it. Is it not? But if you're selling just from the can, why you usually just come with a container? Is it not? You can hold it, press it, and then they are good to go. So you need to know all your cost components. What makes up your costs? Because if you don't know what makes up the cost, chances are that business will die, no matter how good the idea is. Then, lastly, is what we call your revenue streams. Your what? Revenue streams. Every business is as good as its what? Revenue stream. Those two things under, they are the things that define a business. You need to know your customers, you need to know your revenue stream. Because everybody wants to make business, make money, is it not? The purpose of business or startups is for what? Money, is it not? Yes, of course you want to meet a need, because there are different kinds of startups anyway. I just want to teach you through that because that's not what you want to hear. But the truth is that every business is set up. Every business is set up. Every business is set up for the purpose of making money. Every business is set up for the purpose of making money. For the purpose of what? Making money. So, if you have a business that's not making money, is it a business? It's not a business. So, I want to hear questions before maybe the light comes back. Any question? Any question? If you have a question, you can come forward and ask me. Any question? Please ask a question. What do you do? She said, what if you start a business, you're not making money? What do you do? Listen, if you do design thinking, you must make money. Hello? Here I said, if you design a business for people, you make money. Because businesses that don't make money are businesses that are designed for some whims or some superficial reasons that don't really matter. Because, for example, I gave you a clear-cut example of water business. Nobody will take water from you without paying for it, is it not? Is it not? And if you follow the steps of design thinking and you add this business model canvas to it, you will have a business that will make money. Let me give you an example. We helped a Turkish firm set up a restaurant. Now, when we started that restaurant, we designed the restaurant, we built the restaurant. The first month, because the agreement was to run that restaurant for 1 month, so we put all the right people there. The first month, the business did not make money. The overhead of the business was 1.6, if I recall correctly, it was about 1.6 million. We paid the chef 350,000. Second chef, 150,000. The waiters, we paid them 35,000. Then all the things went into the things we bought for the kitchen, minus construction costs. So we didn't make money. The second month, we made about, it was slightly less than 3 million. It was 2.89 million. So we made a profit of about 1.3 million. Second month. Third month, the business went to it was 5.3 million. We made a profit of about 3 million. You see, can you see that the overhead is increasing? Do you know why? Because customers are coming. They are buying more things. Okay? By the 6th month of that business, I tell you, I have records. We were making 9.8 million. By the 6th month, 9.8 million. That's what the supervisors brought to my table. 9.6 million. In 6 months. That restaurant is one of the biggest restaurants in Abuja. You can check it out. I give you the name. I won't give you the name because it'll be free advance. Everybody's paying me for it. They are not more paying me for that, so I won't do that. Okay? It's a Turkish company. In 6 months, we're making 9.8 million. The profit was 6 million. In 6 months. When I tell you that these things I'm teaching you, you can use it. Do you know how we built that restaurant? Inside the bush. It's not bush. Bush. When we're clearing the place, when we're clearing the place, the owner of the land, he didn't measure the land. He called me and said, Jesse, he stayed in Japan many years, for 30 years. He said, Jesse, just take like this. Like a farmer. You know the way farmers don't land. Say, take like this. Like this. So I told my surveyor, I said, surveyor, measure from there to this point. So we got about 7,000 square meters. We designed, the first phase was 3,500 square meters. Second phase was going to be 3,500 square meters. So, but the man came after that was very upset. He said, you know, I gave you land without measuring, and we paid very little. That's why you consult people like us. You know, we paid very little for that land. And I said, in 6 months, that restaurant has been there now since 2017. They're making millions. In fact, one of the ladies I employed, let me tell you, that young lady, she was doing a part-time program when I employed her. She was doing a part-time program at this, what they call it, Open University. So we employed her. The Turkish guys didn't like it. They didn't like it. I told her, I said, leave the girl alone. They let the girl alone. Do you know what? That girl that they didn't want to employ because she was running a part-time program, she manages that place now. She runs the place wonderfully well, and they make money in tens of millions every month. During COVID, they were using bicycles, to take food to people's houses. She sent me a bottle of wine. It was her wedding card. So, listen carefully. Design thinking may sound a bit far-fetched from you, but it's easy. People pay a lot to come and learn it. So maybe when you come to university or college, it will teach you, but you can practice it. Then the business model canvas as well. Write it down. Check it, the business model canvas. So that when you are done with classes, you start businesses. Get 2, 3, 4 people. Put them together. Start a business. Think. Don't just play. Don't just play. I know they didn't send me here to come and advise, but I came to teach you. So if I'm teaching you, I'm going to tell you what I tell people. Old people, young people, single people, married people. Don't play. Nigeria is growing with enormous population. And very soon you will add to that population. Some of you give birth to 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Some people will give birth to 8, 12 maybe. Some people, you have 3 wives, 4 wives, as you choose. There is no job for people except the job you create. So that's what I'm telling you. You need to begin to think entrepreneurial. You need to start thinking creative, innovative. That's what this class is for. This class is about techniques for creating startups. Technique for what? Creating startups. And the best technique I know for creating startup is what? 1, design thinking. Once you follow design thinking, logically, you would have a business that people would want. Because I told you, the first thing is to what? Empathize. What? Empathize. There are people in your classes who want services that you can render. Think about it. Look at your class. Say, okay, this class in the next 6 months, what can I give to them? No, most people will say, I can sell clothes. That's good business. But there are other things you can do. Be innovative. You have engineers, maybe science students, computer science students who can design websites. Meet with them, partner with them. Design apps. Design apps. That's one of the things we do. We help people design apps that can take their business to their end users. Because business has gone digital. What I call it? Digital. Most of you are on Facebook. While you're on Facebook, you are seeing ads coming up. That's somebody's business, they're selling. That's somebody's business. I'm not sure maybe I want to have I keep saying older, not because I want to make you feel bad. I want to know that I want to challenge you. I want to challenge you. Because most people, they think they're so young. They think they're too young. If you remove 20 years from Mark Zuckerberg's age, that means when he started Facebook, he was what? 19 years old. 19 years old. What's that guy's name? That almost held Nigeria to ransom on Twitter. What's his name? What's this Twitter guy's name? What's his name? Huh? Jack, what? The Twitter owner. What's that his name?
Jack Dorsey.
Jack Dorsey, right? Jack Dorsey. Jack Dorsey started Twitter how many years ago? Are you aware? Twitter is not up to 15 years. Are you aware? Huh? Yes. Twitter is up to 15 years. But today, we are all using Twitter. Is it not? The guy. Now, why am I calling their names? The market for innovation in Nigeria is so huge. So huge. And you can buy into it. What you do, let me tell you what you do. Partner with people from different departments, faculties, especially humanities. You have an idea, don't just stay with your circle. Get people from other departments, join them together, start a business. And you can always consult us at Innovo, okay? You can consult us, we can help you, guide you. But we only guide people who are bringing proper business, proper ideas, so that you don't waste our time, okay? Is that okay? And then you start that business. Tomorrow, I told you, CBN is giving money. In the next 1 year, I'm sure, from what I got, I'm sure Pop will tell you. CBN is going to give universities, individuals, undergraduates, lots of money to fund businesses. They will not give you just one person. They will only give you if you are in a team. So form teams, form groups, start businesses. Don't waste your time. Play. You can play because you're young. You should play. You don't play, you waste your life. But play, but be dedicated to a task. In other words, form groups that are creative, innovative. Look around the campus and say, what do we do? Don't think of wholesale markets. Think about your local environment. University of Abuja, I'm sure, has a population of not less than 15,000 students. Say I'm wrong. 15,000 students. You know what it means to produce something for 15,000 people? That's big market. That's big market. Don't waste time. Don't look for money. Don't be begging money. Produce an idea, people will buy into it. And I told you, you can start with 5,000 naira pure water business. 5,000 naira. I think my time is up. Thank you so much, everybody. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. I think there's no doubt that we've had an interesting engagement this morning, also this afternoon. Please, let's give the lecturer one more round of applause. Yeah, he spoke a lot into some of the issues that we are bothered with in the Entrepreneurship Center. And I'm already thinking of where I'm going to fit him in next, because definitely it's going to be part of this project. Thank you, Mr. Jesse, for the explanation. Now, any other questions you have, please pass them to the center. We'll find a way of reaching you. Like I said previously in the beginning, yes, like I said previously in the beginning, this guest lecture series will come to an end next weekend. Why are you excited? Now, and next Saturday session will be facilitated by our experts from the Central Bank of Nigeria. And they are going to be talking on their new project that the guest lecturer also made reference to, which is called Tertiary Institution Entrepreneurship Scheme. I'm surprised when he asked you whether you know anything about that, and many of you kept quiet. We circulated the information on the platform. Many of you also engaged us in finding out about these things. And when the lecturer asked you, all of you kept quiet. I just believe you are not shy, right? So the expert will be coming next Saturday to facilitate this session. They are going to talk to you about what it is, how you can benefit from it, what you need to do, and some other issues that are not clear to you will be answered that day. Let me tell you, not many people have this opportunity, right? You are lucky you are in Abuja, and the architect of the scheme are in Abuja. It is not easy to bring them in. If you are in Kaduna or some other distant places, you find it difficult to have access to this kind of education. So please make maximum use of the privilege. We want to see our students or our graduates taking the lion's share of the over 500 million naira that is budgeted for that project. I think about 500 million naira also budgeted for that scheme. So, I mean, you don't have any excuse. Don't let people from Lagos take advantage of that. You are here, you can ask them questions, you can interact with them. You can even go to the office and get, personal contact matters a lot. You don't really have to send in bills or anything that may not even be read at the end of the day. But when they come here and interact with them, you collect their numbers. The next time you are reaching out to them, they will know that they've had personal engagement with you and they'll take your inquiry very seriously. So please don't waste that opportunity. And we have also gone a great length to make sure that they come here for that session. So that will be next Saturday. And like I said previously, the Global Week is starting on Thursday. You're also expected to be here. All the business plan competition that we talked about, which our doctorate now translates to something called business model canvas, right? The results will be out that day. Our strategic planner, they'll be here with you to tell you how to go through it. The quarterfinalists, the semi-finalists, the finalists, and the winner. I already told you about how those things are going to reflect in your continuous assessment. Beyond that, there are also monetary reward for winner and maybe second and third place. The guy from Global Western Consult will come here to tell you more about that. In the meantime, before I draw the curtain, let me find out from you if there's any concerns or questions you need to ask. While you are in the school as students. When you get out, you know what it means. You pay through your nose. Does that answer your question, right? Yeah, next question. Any other person? Anybody? Well, so I want to assume that everything is all right. So I would like to say Thank you for coming today. We meet on Thursday. Please be here early. Arrival is by 9 a.m. Right? Because big guys are coming. The event starts exactly 10 a.m. So by 9, I want you all to be seated quietly and enjoy the rest of the day. So please, thank you very much for coming.